waiting in line for Saturday Night Live. For Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
There are plenty of other ways to spend a Friday afternoon in New York City, besides sitting on the sidewalk in Midtown. But on most Friday nights, from September to May, you can find a very eclectic group of people setting up camp in the urban jungle. People come from all over the eastern seaboard, and sometimes the entire country, to wait on a street corner outside Rockefeller Center, overnight, for a shot at free admission to the world-famous Studio 8H, where SNL broadcasts live. There are some ways to get tickets without waiting outside the building all night. Friends and family of the hosts, musical guests, cast members, and crew are often invited to watch the show from the floor of the actual studio. In the balcony, NBC fills up the seats through an online lottery. Anyone can email in a request in the month of August to enter. If you win, you'll be randomly selected to attend either the dress rehearsal or live taping of a specific show that season. But sometimes lottery winners can't make the date they win tickets for, or don't want to attend the show based on the host or musical guest, or they just don't show up. Then the Studio 8H balcony is filled with standby ticket holders.
They don't let you bring tents or anything because of, New York State law. So you can we brought an inflatable mattress that inflated on batteries, so we were able to use that, and folding chairs. You get tons and tons of food, and you bring apples to apples or different board games. You make up games to play while you're there, and just try not to lose your mind.
To receive a standby ticket, you need to line up on 48th Street by 7 a.m. on the Saturday morning of the show. NBC employees walk down the line of hopeful standbyers, handing out one ticket per person. You can choose whether to receive a ticket for the dress rehearsal or the live show. But here's the catch. Standby ticket holders are not guaranteed admission to the show at any point in the ticketing process until you are physically seated in the studio. And with the huge popularity of SNL and the number of people who try to enter through the standby process, people at the front of the line often arrive days before the tickets are handed out. Sometimes no standby ticket holders are let into the show, and sometimes hundreds get in. There's no way to predict what will happen.
We got in line on Thursday night for the Saturday morning show, so we did 2 full nights in line.
When you get the standby ticket, you come back and line up in the lobby, and then in chunks, 1 through 10, 10 through 20 or whatever, they'll take a bunch over, make you wait right in front of a metal detector, and then they'll basically be 1 through 10 is in, and then they go through the metal detector and then get right on the elevator and go upstairs. They let the first chunk of people go, and then we were, I think, probably the second or third chunk, and there was maybe one person in front of us, and then our small group of 4 or 5 people, and that's when they cut it off. We were waiting so long, and we were still remaining hopeful, and then they started breaking down the metal detector, and we were like, damn it!
So why would you willingly sleep outside, subjecting yourself to the mercy of the weather and the gritty streets of New York, just to watch a TV show?
Waiting in line is almost more fun than seeing the show itself, because everyone's kind of delusional, everyone's freezing.
There's such a weird, kind of subculture that revolves around the standby line. There's people that have been doing it every week for years and years and years. SNL Lewis, the pro of the standby line, he has been there every week. He saw 500 tapings, all from waiting in the standby line, including the pilot episode, everything. It's such a good experience. I tell people about it, and they look at me like I'm insane or dumb, because it's if you explain it, it's oh yeah, you sleep on the sidewalk for 20 hours. That sounds ridiculous.
I set out to document the standby line on Friday, February 28, 2014, for the March 1st show, featuring Jim Parsons from The Big Bang Theory as the host and Beck as the musical guest. 5 of my friends and I spent the entire night on the street, in temperatures as low as 14 degrees. Did we make it in the studio? Did we freeze on the street? Was it all worth it? Here's our story.
Okay, am I in it? Right. Hey, I'm Sam Cecil. I just got to the Saturday Night Live standby line, and we are the 3rd people. It's about 3:30, I think. I got here at 3, so let's do this.
So there's this old lady and this old guy who are probably in their 60s who show up to almost every show and take it upon themselves to patrol and make sure everyone's in the right place.
There's this woman we refer to as Zombi. She is always close to the front of the line by herself every week, and she's just wrapped in the dirtiest, grossest blankets and jackets, and it's real bad.
I have no idea why she does it, but she brings all of her possessions and sort of sits there and waits and makes sure everything's running properly, and she's great.
Okay, so it's 6:30, it's about 20 degrees out. There are probably 3 or 4 more people in line behind us, groups of people, but not too many more. I expected a lot more, probably because it's 20 degrees out and it's freezing.
Just gotta stay warm, so I'm feeding her.
What a good husband. Thanks, babe.
When it gets really, really cold in line, Lauren Michaels, who's the executive producer, will often send down soup for the whole line, which is nice and cute, and anything from Lauren Michaels is like a gift from God for SNL fans.
Do you still want to do dress, or do you want to do live because we're so
See, I was about to chat with you about that.
Okay, chat.
I always think dress rehearsal is better because the dress rehearsal is essentially the same thing as the live show, but it's about a half hour longer. Weekend update, they'll experiment with more jokes, basically try them out on the crowd to see what reaction they get, and it decides what'll make it to the live show. So if you see the dress rehearsal, it's the same thing. They treat it like it's actually the live show, and they tape it just in case. We've never been this close, so that our chances are definitely better.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's so hard to say. I am kind of leaning toward live show, just because it'd be exciting to, we'd get out at 1 a.m. That's exciting.
Yeah.
But the other one is longer, and we have a way better chance of getting in. So I don't know. If we wait for live and don't get in, I'm going to slit my throat on camera. And you don't have to be married to your spot in line. You basically set up shop, and you can wander out of line. You can get food. You can walk around when it's cold. Go warm yourself up. God. That's a nice cup of Joe. Stiff cup. Stiff Joe.
I am freezing my ass off.
Just to cover up the cold spots,
Right.
This is gonna be sick. Sleepy time.
Good night, Brian. After 28 long, cold hours on 48th Street, the NBC pages finally showed up at 7 a.m. to hand out our standby tickets. We followed through with our highly debated decision to try and attend the live show. Exhausted, frozen, and very achy, we stumbled into the subway, went back to our hotel, and slept the rest of the day. We came back to the NBC building at 10:30 that night and dutifully lined up in our ticketed order, full of nervous excitement. Then we were ushered through a metal detector and told to wait in 6 lines in front of a bank of 3 elevators. Unsurprisingly, I was not allowed to bring my camera, and we had to turn all of our phones off. After what felt like another 28 hours of waiting by those elevators, a page got the radio call to send up the first batch of 30 standbyers. More pages took our standby tickets and handed us paper bracelets, which we hastily put on as we jogged down the white carpeted hallway, lined with photos of past sketches. And then we were in the studio,
and seated in the far right corner with little to no view of the main stages but a perfect view of the inner workings of the mobile sets. And just like that, the live show was happening. Jim Parsons and Beck both did a phenomenal job, and the hours flew by up in Studio 8H. My favorite part was watching executive producer Lorne Michaels stroll around the floor in between sketches. I've never seen someone look both so regal and so intimidating with his hands jammed in his pockets. We even got on national TV for a split second. So was it all worth it? 100% yes. It's free, it's fun, it's very unique, and it's completely unforgettable.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night!